Today I'm going to share all the things that have broken with my Caravan in the year and a half that I've had it, and I'm also going to share how I've fixed the broken parts as well. Not all of them, just some of them. One of the very first things to break, I think it was like 1 month in, was this catch. With the Skylight you can have it semi-open, and the metal bar got caught on the other side of the plastic, and when I pressed it into the right place it snapped off. And I've just always assumed it's going to be an expensive fix, so I've left it. I've never touched it. So if you know of a solution, let me know. Another thing that broke pretty quickly was the outdoor latch. This bit of plastic snapped off, I think within the first month that I got the Caravan. But it still works. The door still stays out, and then you pull this to disconnect it. But to be honest, every single time I open and close the door I just notice this. So I finally ordered the part. And this broke about 6 months in. When I drive along really bumpy roads, which is a lot of New Zealand roads, so it still happens sometimes. I'm driving along and this has dropped down while I've been driving, and one time this whole section was had come away a bit. It was down a little. I put in a couple of metal fixtures to just hold it in place, and it's worked. It's worked fine for the last year. What else is broken? Now the stovetop's slowly getting rusty. It always had a tiny bit of rust, but it's just growing. So I imagine it'll just reach a point where I'll need to replace that. And underneath this cupboard, it's kind of a strange design because there's two elements sitting right on the wall, so all the heat rises into this little area here, and the fake wood is starting to peel a little bit. It was doing it a tiny bit when I bought the Caravan, and it's just growing a little bit more. I try to always use the front elements and use the extractor fan just to avoid making it worse. So you've all heard me talk about this temperamental fridge. It's back to being fine. It's very temperamental. So we'll see. I'm imagining one day I am going to have to replace it. A few things are broken inside. Like this is broken on me. That's about it actually. And under the sink, I haven't mentioned this before, but there is a pipe that connects from the sink, and that had jiggled loose, and so some water was dripping into the straw and down onto the base, and I unscrewed the base and it's done a little bit of damage, but it seems okay. So it's just another thing to keep an eye on. Now when I first got the Caravan, whenever I turned on the taps it would splutter a little bit, and I just assumed that was what it was supposed to do. But turns out it was this thing. This is supposed to capture any of the dirt that's in the water and make sure it doesn't go into the pump. A friend of mine took this out and it worked perfectly. I keep meaning to buy a replacement, but I haven't got around to it. At the moment I've got a external, I don't know what you call it, the thing that drops into the water tank outside, that's got some netting to prevent dirt from getting into the pump. So when I get tanks fitted underneath I'm going to have to replace this as well. And this strip along the front, the fake wood was starting to peel away, a little bit of mould was there, and I was finding that sometimes some water was sitting in the front. I think this was when these windows were on the second latch to let in a little bit of airflow. I think the rain was getting in. So I've made this replacement and I'm going to keep an eye on it, and hopefully got no problems. And in the year and a half I've had the Caravan, I've had to replace the battery. The battery went flat. I probably damaged it a couple of times, and I think it was getting too much of a workout. It just stopped one day, and I've just bought a new toilet cassette because the old one of the seals was gone, and I did find out I could replace the seal for about $30, so At the moment the cassette's just sitting in the boot of my car, and so my car smells a bit like a toilet. But, oh well, we'll see. So the exterior of the Caravan isn't looking quite as new as it was. This poor Caravan's gone down some interesting New Zealand roads. There's some specks of tar seal from Roadworks. There's some random dots, I don't know what from. I've noticed a couple of little cracks, possibly from large stones. I've also noticed that the jockey wheel area is starting to rust a little bit. This connects from the Caravan to the car, and it shows all the lights and indication. So I've had that destroyed in the past. It fell out and dragged along the ground, and you can see it's been taped up previously. So it looks like it's done it a few times. This is the safety chain for the UK Caravans. You don't need a chain as such. This is a breakaway cable, I think it's called. If the Caravan disconnects from the car, this is yanked and this comes off and it turns the brakes on the Caravan. So in theory the Caravan should stop. But once I forgot to disconnect this when I arrived at a campground, so I drove the car away. Yeah, I got to test it out. Made an awful lot of noise. And I've got a few marks on the glass and on the Caravan from brushing against bushes too closely, and it's left a few scratch marks. I've just bought a product that should get rid of it. I'll give it a go and see, hopefully. I feel like I need to take better care of the exterior of the Caravan than I have. Under some of these windows you start seeing black marks after a while. And I've also bought a product that should get rid of those marks. So hopefully the Caravan looks a little bit nicer. What I'd love to do in the future is maybe get a heat gun or something that will get off the old stickers, because I've got quite a few that I don't really need anymore. I just want to make the Caravan look a little bit smarter. I used to have a bin here, and little parts of it slowly kept breaking. It's just very thin plastic, and eventually last winter it properly broke and I couldn't fix it, so I took it off with the idea of getting another one. But to be honest, I've ended up with a bin just under the sink, and it works so much better. This one was a little annoying because if you had the door open and you were cooking, you had to kind of step outside to reach the bin every single time. This light fell off at one point and I completely lost it, and actually took a while to find its replacement. There are just a couple of websites in New Zealand that supply UK Caravan parts, but they exist, they're out there. And a reflective light on the exterior of the Caravan just must have dropped off at some point. I'll need to buy a replacement. I literally just found out about that. And I've had 2 flat tyres, one on either side, and when one of the flat tyres happened, it ripped off the outer rim, or skit I think it's called. So right now I'm waiting for my Caravan insurance company to get back and let me know if they'll actually cover it. To be honest, I'm not holding my breath, it doesn't sound promising. And I'm in the process of fixing the 2 holes underneath the Caravan, and I've just cleaned it today, so it's looking a lot better. So I jimmied this pipe into place and still holding together. I don't know if I need sealant around it or tape. This plastic flap broke. At the moment it's just been held on by duct tape, and I've ordered the replacement. Actually, that should be off. There's a few cracks showing up on the top of the gas cover, and spiders just seem to love living in it. There's always cobwebs in there. This is the latest problem. Something's changed in here. This doesn't show green anymore, so I feel like something's broken in here. A retired mechanic that lives here stuck his fingers in and had a feel around and pulled and pushed a few levers, and feels pretty confident that it still works, it does its job, but yeah, this little red or green indicator's stopped working. To be safe, I've just taken out the friction pads and I've bought some new ones. So that's it. That's the long list of everything that's broken in this Caravan since I got it over a year and a half ago. It's kind of longer than I expected. And I'm planning to just slowly chip away and fix everything. And I also just want to say a massive thank you. Again, I've had an amazing jump on Patreon. It's blowing me away. I can't get over it. It's too generous. Thank you guys. And then a big thank you to my top tier Patreons, Pauline, Alan, Dennis, Luther and David. It's a little bit noisy today. Yeah, they're cutting along the driveway at the moment, so good luck anyone trying to get in or out.